Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. You are tuning in to the Q&A to the girl who left home. So welcome, everybody. If you guys don't know, my name is Ia Baklagan. I am the Vice President of FilAm Creative, and I am also an actor, producer, and a dancer. So if you guys don't know as well, FilAm Creative, we are a nonprofit organization that advocates for the community and empowers Asian American representation in media. So again, welcome. This is the Q&A for The Girl Who Left Home. And congratulations to The Girl Who Left Home because they had their premiere at LA Asian Film Festival. So congratulations. And The Girl Who Left Home is a live action musical feature film that surrounds Asian American working class family who faces tragedy at the height of Christine's career. And after her father suddenly passes away, Christine must choose to either save her family's restaurant from getting shut down or continuing to pursue her life's dream. And without further ado, I am going to be welcoming the cast and crew. So I am going to call out their names, and if they would like to wave, do a dance, or do whatever they want, so that you guys can see them on the screen. So first up is the writer, director, producer, lyricist, Mallory Ortega. Yeah. Hi, Mallory. And then next up, producer Angelo Santos. Hi, Angelo. Producer and the guy who also played Manny, Ruswin Francisco. Hi. And the composer for film, Alex Winkler. And the editor, Lindsay Armstrong. Hello. Our sound designer and supervisor, Diana Cha. The post-production supervisor, Janelle DeChancy. Hi. The executive producer, Dylan Tai. One of the producers and also the woman who played Mary, Amy Collegado. Oh yeah. And the man who played Tony, Paolo Montalban. Hey! And we have the girl who played Bess, Liz Casasola. Ooh, okay, yeah. You go, girl. We have the girl who played Megan, Laura Nicolas. Ooh, I love those moves. Yeah, everyone's killing it. And last but not least, the main character, Christine, played by Haven Everly. Woo! Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is honestly such a wonderful way to spend our Sunday afternoon, just chatting with you all. And, the LA Asian Film Festival, just started. So this is like all the excitement, all the hype. And yeah, let's go ahead and start our Q&As. Are you guys ready? Yes, excited? Yeah. Yay, awesome. So, by the way, again, I said it in the beginning, but congratulations. It's such a wonderful film. Ronnie and I and some of the people from FilAm Creative had the opportunity to watch the movie, and we loved it. We loved it. Ronnie was saying earlier how, and Ronnie is our executive director of FilAm Creative, for those of you that don't know, she was like, I finally stopped crying today. And I was like, girl, same. So yeah, and if you guys are watching it, for people who are watching this stream right now, if you haven't had the chance, Mallory, they still have the chance today until the end of today. Am I right
That's right. Yeah.
to watch the film? Yeah. So if you're doing the opposite way of watching the Q&A first and then watching it, that's okay. You still have a chance to watch it. Yeah. So yeah, I want to start off with a question for everybody. Um, so The Girl Who Left Home, it's a musical, and there's a lot of moving parts, in a musical. So there's like choreography, there's the singing, the dancing, and even like choreography like outside of like the film, and then even just rehearsing that choreography. Anyways, you guys got it. There's like a lot of moving parts in this, in creating a musical compared to like a traditional narrative feature. So we would love to get the inside scoop on how it's like putting everything together.
I'll kick it off. It's a big challenge, but I think at the end of the day, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we get to sing, or we get to do something very exciting that you don't get to do every day," and also in a narrative form for film. And I would say, with the amazing team that I had, Angelo and Dylan, we were really able to pull it off. For example, when I was directing, Angelo really took over the on-set crew and the organization of them, and Dylan Tai actually was the one who wrangled all the dancers and extras. And it's a lot to organize and take in, but I think we all were just really on the same page about scheduling, and just as an indie film, making sure, okay, here's our pro dancers, here are the people that have been rehearsing this for a longer time, and figuring out ways to really make everyone look sharp and look good. And it definitely wouldn't have happened without my two, I guess my right and my left hand, Angelo and Dylan. So I'll speak to them on that, and I'll let anyone else jump in.
What am I, the left or the right hand?
Whichever you want.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what you could do when you kind of focus, or actually when you have good people to work with and people that are open and understanding. And actually, I think Mallory and I are fortunate that when we discovered while we were driving on location that we actually had the same producer teacher. She was when she was at USC, and I took a class at UCLA Extension, and it was actually a USC teacher who was my producer teacher, and we found out it was her. And so we kind of meshed on that. We know what she expects of us, so that's what we expect of each other, and I think that worked well in terms of the production between me and Mal. So yeah. Dylan.
I mean, it's surreal. It's like Mallory and I have been friends since high school, and we bonded in our director's really, really small closet office. And it started off with being set designers, and we call set designers, and we just like, that's how our bond started through high school. And then we united with the proof of concept. And then I'm like, okay, let's go. Here's my money. I believe in you. And we're here today. And so it's just great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wow, I can't believe you guys have been friends for that long, huh? Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's really true, when they say it takes a village, because I feel like it really does take a village. And, it's really nice to hear, the stories, and, how everything got put together, to like your personal relationship, to your like professional relationship, and how like, just the bonding and stuff, when you guys go through a production like this. Because I can just imagine, like, it doesn't take like a month or like a week to create something, like this. I can just imagine, like, it takes such a long time. So how was that experience of working with one another for a long time together? And Yeah.
It was really
This is so
wonderful.
concerning.
I know it was really wonderful, and I would love for Haven and Paolo to jump in. Just going back a little bit on the choreography aspects, because I know Paolo had maybe minutes to learn his dance, and Haven, that whole first sequence of the opening, she learned that within 24 hours. Like I'm telling
Wow.
you, and we rehearsed it on stage for 6, and then shot it for 4. I would love for them to weigh in on it, but just to answer your question a little bit, we really became a family. I think, a lot of us lived together at my parents' house for a month. And I think not only was there trust in one another, but we really got to know each other on a more intimate level. Our temperaments and our way of collaboration and communication was really important. But I'll pass it off to some of the actors to jump in.
I can go first, but just to piggyback on what you were saying, yeah, it does take a village, and the process of incorporating acting, singing, and dancing is definitely a long process. So thanks to Mallory's organization, and I got to record some of the songs with Alex, and we got to learn the script together. We got to do stage readings together to get the theme and the vibe of the music as well as the script. And so, and then I got to rehearse the live songs that Emmy and I got to do. And that in itself had a lot of moving parts. But as far as the choreography goes, that was definitely the most challenging because because it was so busy during shoot. We shot this in 17 days, and every day we were working 6-hour days. And so we had 4 hours to do the intro scene. And so that day, I think the day prior, we were doing the big festival. There's a big scene at the end. And so in between cuts, I would have to learn the dance with the choreographer, and then I'd go back to shooting the other scenes. And then afterwards, I think I'd get home or get to the hotel room at 10 or 11 p.m. And then I would rehearse at the gym. With my dad who didn't want me to get kidnapped, so he stayed with me. My parents were visiting, they were background actors. They were super happy about it, and my dad was like, "What are you doing? You just got off of work." I was like, no, I need to rehearse what I learned. And so I had that time, and then 6 a.m. was call time for the next day, and I just tried to do my best with the time given to make it as best as possible for the story. And so you just kind of go on this adrenaline, and I think when you believe in the concept and you believe in the art of singing, acting, and dancing, you want it to be as good as you can possibly give it. So it was definitely a journey.
I'm going to chime in now. First of all, I want to give Mallory, Ruswin, Dylan, and Angelo, our producers, the props they deserve, because I was just thinking about it the other day. This wasn't just a film that we produced in the United States. For a second there, it was international, if you think about it, because I was in London at the time when we were doing the pre-records for the songs. And so in a way, I was working with Alex, our composer, before I even got to meet him. And actually I only really got to meet him on Zoom the other day on our opening night. But it's really incredible, the organizational skills that they had to put together in order for all the moving parts to happen and fire on all pistons at the same time or in succession properly. And with regards to learning the choreography within an hour or so of shooting.
Dang, an hour.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, just the stress face. Just and sweating. See, the thing is, when I get nervous or when I learn new choreography, I sweat so much, more than I've ever sweated in my life. It's so even if the choreography isn't particularly strenuous, just sweat from the stress, stress sweat.
Oh my gosh.
but I totally trusted Mallory and Matt Holla, our DP, to make me look good, basically, and they did, to the extent that the choreography that I gave them, or the execution, or the choreography. The choreography was great. It was the guy who was doing it.
No,
Thank you, Lindsay, for the edits too. So well done.
Well,
Oh
actually,
my God.
the
Yeah.
scene you're talking about, it was my favorite scene to edit. So
No.
I thought you guys did a great job. I was like obsessed with that song. I listened to it over and over. And yeah, that was like I don't remember exactly. It was like an 8-minute sequence, but I loved cutting it. It was so much fun. So I thought you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
I mean, if you honestly didn't let us know that you learned it in an hour, like I wouldn't have known. Like it's, like it's you did great. You did great. That was the Tito song,
Very avuncular of me.
Yeah, very lit,
And I think honestly, we had so much time together, not just on set. Haven touched on how we had stage readings, and I actually met Liz and Laura during our New York stage reading. We hadn't fully cast yet. We only knew Haven, Paolo, and Emmy were going to be in the cast, and we were like, well, we need, we were fundraising. We're trying to find new investors to really, solidify our budget. And Emmy was like, oh my gosh, I have a friend. Her name is Liz. She's great, blah, blah, blah. And I forgot Laura, how I got, oh no, Cicero, one of our associate producers, was like, check out Laura. She's really great. And we brought her. And I think, Laura, you auditioned with me. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Laura was really wonderful. Maybe if she played Megan, she'd be cool with it. And we got these two people together. And it was just like, we were, Russ was there. We were all there except for, our post team. And it was just like, this is our cast. And I think that's really where this relationship and trust started happening, and really like that village, right, growing, even before we were in production. And I'm really grateful that we did that, because it just added on to the memories and the family and getting to know each other without, arriving on set not knowing each other at all.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful thing, when like everything is just starting to like, click together, and everything is just, it's that magical moment that, honestly, the bonds that you guys are saying that you guys were, you guys are basically a family. Like it also shines through on the screen. Like you can tell the passion, you can tell like, the chemistry and the connections with each and one of you on screen. And, I would not doubt you if you told me that you guys are a family, because, you guys were so beautiful together. Yeah.
Well, I actually have a funny Filipino, all Filipinos know each other's story, especially with Paolo. Paolo and I grew up together. Paolo, he used to sing at my cousin's family parties. So I knew Paolo from a long time ago. And then at the reading, I found out Emmy grew up with my cousins from Texas. So it was kind of like that small little Filipino family world that we discovered while we were on set. So that's kind of cool. I think it added to the connections too between everybody.
To piggyback off of that, I met Liz and Paolo in 2005, and Liz actually mentored me for my audition for the American Musical and Dramatic Academy all those years ago. She mentored me in my audition and wrote my recommendation letter, and that's how I got into AMDA. So there you go, a little tidbit.
Oh my gosh, it's literally like such a small world. Like, who would know, like in 2020 you guys, or 2019 you guys are, working together on, a project. Wow. It's really, honestly, that is kind of true though. It's like a Filipino thing to be like a small world type of thing. And you know what? We own it. We're just like, oh wow, speaking about the musical and the songs that you guys have in the film, it's like the stories that you guys put in the lyrics. We want to get an insight too on how that process was, for you guys in creating all those songs, and kind of like the chicken and the egg type of thing. Like, what came first, the lyrics or the sound, or like the music, or, like I know everybody's process is different, and I think it would be cool if we heard how that process was for you guys.
Yeah, so Alex and I went to USC together. He was in the composing, scoring school, right?
Mm-hmm. The master's
And
in scoring, yeah.
yes, the master's in scoring. And then I was in my last year for master's in film and television. And I had the idea to make this film. And I was like, I need a composer. Let me just like find one online at USC. And he was the only one actually who had, a musical background. And so I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I have an idea. Would you want to like work on stuff? He's, and we chatted about it and we're like, yeah, let's try. And I will say that our music definitely evolved from day one till even Paolo, when we casted Paolo, that song, the Tito song, was not at all that hip or cool. It was much more traditional. If you remember, Alex, we had like a lot traditional Filipino sounds. It was slower. And even with Emmy, when she came on board, the karaoke song was also very different.
Right.
And in fact, Haven's big number, The Girl Who Left Home, that song, that was, I think, the last song we wrote. And
yeah, we rewrote that, I think, several times, and that was very different. The thing we actually settled on was so different from the earlier versions. So
I think once we knew who our casts were, I was like, we need to make them shine.
Right.
Yeah. Alex,
especially when we decided, okay, if Haven's the lead, we needed to show her off because her voice is just so stellar. And it was cool just knowing that, I can write basically anything and she can hit those notes. And, I thought maybe we should move some of these high notes lower. It's like, no, she sounds so good on them. So let's just keep it where it is. And one thing I kind of just remembered recently, just looking back nostalgically at the beginning of this process, was the pitch videos that you used to help fundraise the film. We wrote songs for those videos, and that actually helped inform what the theme of the musical would be. So it's kind of crazy how the fundraising process helped affect the composition process. That's definitely never been the case for me in other projects. So that was really cool.
Wow. Yeah. We like, I'm like, whoo, my brain was just like, whoo, processing, because, all the music that was in it, like I said, like you can tell the passion and the story, what was trying to be said. And, not gonna lie, what said when she sang, The Girl Who Left Home, it was one of those moments where it's like, she said the title of the movie. That was fun. Absolutely. The vocals were amazing. And, it's amazing to incorporate different types of storytelling within the story that you're telling. And, songwriting and, like composition is such a wonderful art. And, thank you guys for sharing that art with everybody.
Yeah. And I did want to shout out to Steve Greist, who couldn't be here today, but he helped with lyrics with Mallory, and his collaboration on it really took everything to the next level too. Like, he's such a great filmmaker outside of being a lyricist, and so his lyrical mind really helped, I think, solidify everything in the end. So thank you, Steve.
Yeah. And what was funny, actually, Steve and Alex worked on a separate project without, either of us knowing. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, Alex, my friend Steve, he's so great, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I know, Steve, we worked on this other musical together. And it just like, it completely like made sense.
And I want to give a shout out to all of you guys for the music, because as the editor, I had the privilege to listen to all of you sing and that music constantly for like 10 months, and I never got sick of the music. I loved it so much. So that's really a testament when your editor doesn't get sick of listening to those songs over and over. So all of you guys, it was amazing, and it was such a privilege to work on.
Oh, thanks.
I'm also curious to, hear about the experience of like, being, doing post-production and being a sound designer for, for this, and, working with like the lyricists and the compositions and the sounds. If Diana or Janelle want to jump in about, how was your experience with doing sound, for a musical too? Yeah.
I guess I'll start. I was actually on board during production as well. So while we were filming, I was on set making sure that all the musical components were, happening. At that time, Alex was still editing the vocals, so I had to kind of like organize his workflow in like, hey, we need this on this day, and Haven needs this option on this so that she could practice, things like that. So knowing what happens in post really informed my experience in production. And I would say like the hardest part was working with the live vocals. Like Haven had one part, Emmy had one part, and there was just so many things that could have gone wrong that it was just like anxiety inducing, terrifying. Like even if like one cable was wrong in the entire chain of things, it was could have gone all terribly. So it was it was an exercise in patience and grace.
Right.
But also like also knowing what happens in post, like I tried to be more mindful of trying to get as much as we could, like in terms of recordings, like even just the small things on set, and trying to mitigate things like that, so that later on, it's a lot easier. And then, by the time I got to post, it was like, oh, I already knew what happened on set. I knew what happened on which production day and what was accounted for, what not. So that really helped a lot.
Right. And I really appreciate Diana and the fact that she's not just a sound designer, but a composer and a songwriter in her own right. That gave me a lot of peace of mind because I wasn't able to be on set. So it was kind of in her hands. All the songs that me and Mallory had worked on were hers to make sound good. And she did a great job with that. And it's very hard to find someone who can do all of those things all at once.
Yeah. Like it's a lot of connecting, and it's a lot of making sure that everyone's on the same page too when it comes to those type of things. And you guys did such a fantastic job with making everything so seamless. And Janelle, would you like to chime in a bit about your experience about working on sound for this?
Yeah, definitely. I have actually worked with Alex on a few projects. Alex, I don't know how many I don't know how many projects we've actually worked on together, but yeah, he as a composer is so great to work with. And so I had that experience. When you have music and sound effects and sound design, combining all those into a sound mix is a lot to juggle. You want to make sure everything's nice and balanced. This was the first musical I had worked on. So you not only have the music from the score, but you have songs, and it's a whole different, they're two completely different things, and you have to approach both of them differently. And so we just had a lot of moving pieces with the score and the songs and the sound design and the sound mix, and keeping all those balanced was, it's a testament to Mallory for having this much energy this far into the project, really. And it's been a really fun challenge, and everyone's great to work with.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yes, Paolo?
Can I just chime in? I just wanted
yes, of course.
I just want to send some praise to Diana and Janelle. This is the second movie musical that I've done in my life. And the first one had a $13 million budget. And this one, I'm guessing, probably wasn't $13 million. But I will say this, whenever we did the playback and we were singing to the songs, it felt like we were shooting on a $13 million budget. And then the final product, the seamlessness between all of the songs linked together, they all felt like they're in the same movie. So that's a props out to Janelle. So it's a really, really challenging thing that I don't think a lot of people can appreciate, but congratulations and thank you for your hard work.
Yay!
That just made me really happy.
All the praises, very, very well deserved, girl. No, like well deserved. Speaking about, sound mixing, we heard that there was like an interesting story about a sound mixing getting stolen. Was that like in the internet? Was that something that happened, or
even know
Wi-Fi getting stolen?
That you were telling me.
Wi-Fi getting stolen. Yes.
Oh my gosh, not sound mixing. Wi-Fi getting stolen.
I was like, oh no, it's so early.
Oh no, you're like, oh,
we just premiered.
Yeah, Mallory, I hate to tell you this, but
oh no.
Oh my gosh, it was about to be like breaking news, guys.
I know. I was like, wow, hot goss. Hot goss
that. Scratch that. We're gonna go back, reset. So I heard there was Wi-Fi getting stolen.
Yes, there was Wi-Fi getting stolen. Yeah, we just have a funny story of just like guerrilla filmmaking. The sound mix took longer than what we thought, and so it was me, Diana, and Janelle with our sound mixer. We're doing this through Zoom, and Diana and I had already planned a trip where there would be no Wi-Fi, no cell service, but we have to finish it. There is a deadline, and so Diana and I took like a 6-hour road trip. By the time we got to our destination, Janelle's like, okay, like we're ready for that one part you guys really need to listen to. And we're like, okay. And so it was Diana and I in the woods stealing Wi-Fi from a welcome center, Diana with the cell phone hot spotting to her computer while we're live streaming, and Janelle and our sound mixer are elsewhere on Zoom. And it was just like so bizarre. What a bizarre and fun thing to do when making an indie movie.
It's just one of those perks of being an indie filmmaker. You get to experience life and nature.
Yeah. Here's our little photo. I have it up. Wait, I remember this failed last time. And Janelle and Diana can chime in on their fun experience. Yeah, so that's Diana and I in a car. And there's our sound mixer, Greg, and then that's Janelle being like, I'm so tired, it's 2 a.m. Let's not take this photo anymore.
Also, aside from the welcome center's little light, it was like pitch black outside. Like, this is where we were gonna get murdered if it was gonna happen. So I'd be so scared every time I heard something. I'd be like,
there's a car parked next to me.
Yeah. Wait, that one's fine. It has a canoe on it.
And their Wi-Fi was like pretty okay, except when we needed to play back the film and have them listen to it.
Oh no.
Like right at the times. It was like, okay. And it was like nothing.
Yeah, we would like freeze and then the video would buffer, and then Greg and I would wait like the 2 minutes while the whole scene played, and they'd be like nodding along. So we'd be like, great, how was that? And they're like, oh, did you play it? Did you start it yet?
Oh no.
Yeah, real delay, real issues.
Yeah. Yeah, indie filmmaking at its peak, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to add another fun sound story. So there's this part where they're doing the tinkling dance, but we didn't have the tinkling stick sounds from production because we had to keep everybody quiet. And so we were like, oh crap, like we didn't get this. So like Mallory just like went online and just found a random person we don't know personally to borrow these sticks. And then they're like huge. So we drag them into my barely furnished living room, and I just like put blankets out and we just start recording it. And like, which it was like great. We're like vibing along to it. And then all of a sudden you hear like boom, 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 boom. And like my downstairs neighbor is pounding on the floor. And I'm like, we only got one take.
Yeah. It's like Mr. Heckles from Friends being like, what up? We're like, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
We need to finish this. Hold on.
Yeah. And he like never says hello to me. So I'm scared of him,
That was that post, Belle, right? When you asked for the tinkling sticks.
Yes. On Facebook, I was like, who has tinkling sticks that I can borrow for my film?
I mean, it's a very specific sound. You can't just get random sticks. They have to be like old, broken in kind of, and then they snap together because they're broken and taped with duct tape. I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like taped with like different colors. Of electrical tape. And like, if you guys, whoever's listening today or watching us, if you guys don't know what a tinkling stick is, it's bamboo. So it's like, it's heavy, and, this, like what they said, the sound is very distinct. So, like if you live in an apartment or like, where you have downstairs neighbors, be cautious. But yeah.
That scene actually was very difficult sound-wise to shoot because not only were there the tinikling sticks, but the traditional dancers had tambourines and
Oh my God.
little
Yeah.
cymbal thingies, and they had to tape up every single little cymbal, tape up the bamboo.
No way.
Yeah, and what was funner was like, Liz actually wasn't written into that scene. Auntie Bess wasn't written into that scene, but she was there, and I was like, okay, if you're here, like, we're gonna get you in here. And so we wrote her whole apology. That was just like kind of improv on the spot. It was just supposed to be Megan. And so we had all them interact with one another. And then I was like, well, now Liz has to dance to Nickling too. Like, she can't not do it. So it was just a really fun on the spot moment, and we just decided that.
Yes. And it's not very easy to dance to Nickling, so props to you.
Valerie, you brought me back to my college days, the PCN,
Yes.
PCN, Filipino Cultural Night. Tinikling was like the show-stopping dance. And you brought me back 5 years, not 20 years. Yeah. Fun, and I needed the workout.
Wasn't there somebody, an actor, who didn't know how to do it and they learned on set?
Emmy, right? Emmy, you were kind of wishy on it. You're muted.
Oh, Emmy, you're muted.
Yeah, that was my first time to do it. I've never done it before. It was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to stop. Once I got started, I was like, I don't know how to stop.
And that's why it was cut also.
When it's like, when they're like tap, tap closing and you're like, oh, when are you not going to close it?
Well, the secret of the clappers are if they're good clappers, they won't clap on your feet. They'll just pretend that they're clapping and they'll just fake it,
Yeah, they go like,
they see your foot there.
Yeah. That's such a nice, like, behind the scene type of story, because like some of those things, like you never would have known, and talking about the sound and the music, we can't talk about this film without those. And of course, food and singing. Not only is it like a staple of the Filipino culture, it's also like a great theme in this film as well. I want to ask Haven, how was it like, filming, making pandesal, and while you're like emotionally singing your heart out, girl? Like, how was that scene?
The scene was so much fun. I think that it's actually really funny because I don't bake. I'm now finally, because of quarantine, I'm finally learning, but I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to bake. And so I remember singing and I was just like feeling it. I was doing, I don't know, I didn't know what I was doing in the kitchen. And so we had to redo it like the first or second time. And Mallory was like, okay, you have to look like you know how to bake. And she was like, let's go over. She's like, let's go over the choreography. So like, and it wasn't like choreography. It was just like what you do in basic baking. So she was like,
oh my gosh.
and then she's like, and then you got to cut it even pieces. And so it's so funny because there's one part where I'm like cutting it, right? And she's like, can you try to do it on beat and make sure you do it evenly? Because, bakers are going to know, like if you're just cutting it on abnormal sizes, it's not going to look legit. And so I remember like, it was one of those like growling notes and I'm just like, but my mind was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was just so fun though. Like that was definitely the hardest part. Like singing and it was all live, mind you. So all live. So the pianist is in here, he's upstairs in the rooms. And I have a mic. So everything was live. And then our DP, Matt, was trailing behind me, and poor guy, like he had to, do it all, backwards. So he's trying to make sure he get himself around the island or by the oven. And here I am, like trying to be like, it's almost like one of those things where I'm like, am I singing this note? But then thankfully we were able to get it done within, I don't know, like 8 shots. But I think that, when you're under that pressure and this is a great song, you want to do the best that you want to do, it just kind of like flows through. And think with Mallory's guidance, because Mallory can cook and she can bake. So I got like my 101 baking of pandesal like right before. But it was overall really, really fun. Super fun.
Yeah.
Piggyback off of what she said, like trying to be an expert in things that you know nothing about. That for me was driving. The last time I drove was 2006, and then
I forgot about that scene.
on my first day on set, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be doing this," and I'm like, "There's just like things like I knew my lines and I was like prepared to do the scene, but." There are things that you have to have in your body to make it look like you're an experienced driver, you know, like things that a driver won't even think about, like turning on the
second
key,
instinct,
putting on the gas, you know. And I live in New York, so I drove for a month. I learned how to drive for a month and then moved to New York and never used the skill. So it just died. So I was on my first day on set, they had me drive and I had to be like acting and like exactly what Haven is saying. Like, I'm an expert at this. Like, oh yeah, I'm so natural. But like in your head, you're like, oh my God, all the drivers know that I don't drive. And I have like 2 scenes. Well, it's like, well, 2 scenes, that I'm actually driving. One is a continuation of that scene, and we got it. And then when I saw the film, I was like screaming, "Ma, I'm driving! Look, are you proud of me?"
Oh my God!
So yeah.
Didn't that car die after that scene though?
But that wasn't my fault.
The car died during the scene,
and thank God it
pushed
did.
it.
What was that? You pushed it.
Push to reset the car every time.
Photo evidence of that our director, our executive producer, and our first AD was like pushing this car because it died. But she said it's not because of me. I don't know if she's just saying that to make me feel a little better.
It was not you.
All right.
Oh my gosh. So you guys pushed the car for the whole shot or the whole scene, or
just for the first time we see Megan in the car. So the car was manual. So we're like, Laura, you know how to drive a manual car, right? It's really easy. But it was good in manual.
Yes, I don't know.
It was a good thing it was manual, because then, you know, just put it in neutral. We push the car out of frame, then we would push it back into back to start, you know? And there was one scene, I can't remember if Lindsay or Katie edited that scene, but I could see someone's arm in the shot when they're driving away. And I'm like, oh, get that arm out of there.
Our PA.
We got really cracks me up. What really cracks me up though is like, I'm supposed to be annoyed at her because we're already late to this thing. I'm like, all right, let's roll. But then the car is like, because it's being pushed by people. Like, oh, she drives like a grandma.
Oh my God. If you guys like kept the arm, have someone in the credits just being like arm on the car.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, that's crazy. Again, another like, you know, just indie films things type of thing. You know, speaking about, you know, being an independent film and, you know, Mallory being an independent filmmaker, you know, you guys had to create this movie from the ground up. And, you know, it's not only just like, you know, a feature, it's also like a musical. And, you know, what was the most challenging thing in, you know, being an independent filmmaker and pushing, you know, your film and bringing it to life?
I mean, honestly, it comes down to your wallet. I'm just not gonna lie. It comes down, like, you know, people will believe in you and what you say, but when it really comes down to support, like, I need your help because we can't do this literally without money. And, you know, before we even started crowdfunding, you know, we crowdfunded 3 times and everyone here has PTSD from it. I probably more so than everyone else.
I ate a bullet. I ate 3 bullets, by the way.
Yeah. You know, like everyone on this team contributed to the insanity of a crowdfunding campaign But I'll get to that in a second. You know, before we did that, I was pitching to all of these production companies, being from USC and having a short film that won, you know, awards that, you know, Diana actually composed Mango Sticky Rice. She was my composer for that musical. I had a lot of generals with various different production companies, and it was always like, oh, interesting. Okay, well, keep us updated. And I'm like, okay, you know, or like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Wonderful, you know, like good luck. And it's just very frustrating to have nice no's rather than just a no. And then that's when the first crowdfunding campaign came along, and Alex, you know, we talked about creating these pitch songs. And once we made our first pitch song, it was like, oh, a lot of more people actually like what we're doing. And we raised, how much did we raise? Like, Dylan, was it $20,000 first?
20,000 first, and then
$20,000, yeah.
And it kept going up.
Yeah, and then we did a second one because we were trying to do this competition with the Duplass brothers, and we didn't get it, but we did raise another $10,000, and Alex and I wrote another song, you know, and then from those two, it really built momentum within, again, like this community, and it was just very apparent that it would be about the community. And finally, you know, we raised enough money to, you know, get our actresses and actors on board. And honestly, you know, Russ was such a huge impact on me. You know, I met him at a Latido performance in DC. And I wasn't, you know, I went there to support my friend Don Mike and like some of the Asian American people, performers there. And I met him, and he, you know, we really clicked on projects that we wanted, and continuing to develop Filipino American stories. And you know, I feel like we just really bonded after that moment. And Russ has been such a huge champion of this film and of me and my own life. And honestly, if it wasn't for him, you know, believing in me as much as he believed in the Filipino American community in DC alone, I don't think I would have fought as hard as I did moving on. You know, there was a moment where I moved back home to Maryland. I was living in the basement of my parents' house, and me and Dylan are just like, how are we going to do this? You know, and I think, you know, talking to people like Russ and our family and friends in our community just really elevated us. And more people started, you know, donating and started becoming partners. And then we had sponsors, and it became such a large thing. And I think that is really the hardest thing to get over, is the anxiety and the insecurity of your own voice, and people believing it's not important, and telling yourself that it is. And no matter what happens, at least I have this new community around me who does believe that this should happen. So whatever scale it ends up being, I know that it's going to be really good, and it's going to have a really big heart to it, because of the people who finally said yes to me. So there's that.
Yeah. Can I piggyback?
Dylan? Yeah.
So this, as you can see, like this project is a passion project that is like built on community itself, regardless of the seating spark and everything. It's like everyone in this room, Laura, everyone knows each other somehow through Broadway Bacata, through high school. And like a lot of our high school friends are in this movie. Like Justine Morel, who plays Amy, who somehow knows Laura and Liz through Broadway Bacata. So it's like, it's very a small world. And like Russ, we knew him through Don Mike and things like that. And because of that, it's like connections. And that's how we made this movie come to life. Is like our resources now. Each of our individual connections got us to where we are now, from like costumes, food, housing, and just a lot of free housing to make all these scenes happen. And like, that's how it worked with the connections and resources that we were able to pull off in Maryland and LA and New York.
Yeah, and in our third crowdfunding campaign, you know, we had, you know, this whole beautiful team with us, and, you know, they donated their time and their talents. You know, Emmy, Haven, Liz, Laura, Paolo, they sang songs for people who wanted to donate their money, and you know, just like as a little fun thing. And you know, I appreciate everyone is here, really, because everyone reached out to their connections and offered their time and their talents to make this film come alive. And you know, I thank them endlessly for believing in me and this project. Yeah.
And I really like that you, Mallory, brought up earlier the fact, like, talking about, as an artist and as a creative, having that, doubts in your head, or like, especially if you're creating, a movie from the ground up. And I like that you brought that up, because that's such a common thing that people go through, and not a lot of people, that is in this industry, like the people that doesn't know this industry doesn't quite understand how much vulnerability it takes for a creative to put their stuff out there, so it's really, it takes a lot of courage to even pitch like something, it takes a lot of courage to even just go out on a audition, or even like submit yourself on a audition, and coming together in your film. And it just shows a lot of like the family dynamic of not just being family within like connections of you guys personally, but also like family, like as artists, and thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for all of you guys for being so vulnerable, and acting, and even editing. There's a vulnerability in that too. So each and one of you shared like a little bit about yourself in this movie. And we're, as the person who watched this movie, I'm very appreciative, because I could see all the details and the hard work. And that's such the most rewarding thing about an independent filmmaker is the after, like your baby, like after it's done, after it's been brewing. Yeah, so thank you so much for that, for sharing that, Mallory.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, you're muted. Yeah. So before we wrap up in a little bit, in a few minutes, we're gonna have the board of directors of FilAm Creative to say a few words, and then after that, time flies. We're gonna wrap up, soon, and that's sad because we're having fun, and it's been really nice, hearing all these different stories, all this, BTS, and something that I am very appreciative of your guys' film is the incorporation of like the Filipino culture in it, because like it wasn't very like in your face, like Filipino tradition, this is how Filipino traditions. It's just the mannerism, the lines and the storytelling, and even the costumes. Like the very first scene when you guys had like the prayer at the house, like the prayers, I saw that and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's like an insight of my own family too. Like
Can we like mention how Liz Casasola just nailed Tita with the beads?
Yes. Oh my god.
With the money.
The money.
And then Paolo coming in as the Tito. Like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes. It was so wonderful.
I just want to say that Emmy takes the prize for best accent along with Liz. I think.
Yes.
Definitely, they are masters of disguise.
Definitely. It was so funny because we were actually talking about that. We were just like, wait, does she really have an accent, or does she not have an accent? And then I
wish my mom was listening, because she tells me all the time, she goes, you're exaggerating. That don't sound like that. And then all my siblings just laugh, and they're like, and she said, isn't she exaggerating? And they just laugh, and she's
It was very wonderful, even down to like the mom mannerisms. It was great.
Emmy, can you please do the Tita dance that you did with the
iconic Tita dance?
Dun, 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 dun. I can feel the beat.
Thank you.
I'm very hip. I love Bruno Mars.
You're amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. You know,
You're making me cry.
guys,
I mean, you're making me cry.
you know, again, thank you guys so much for staying in, and like to our viewers who are watching our stream today. Again, before we wrap up, we're actually gonna have the board of directors of FilAm Creative say a few words now. And before I pass it on to them, cast and crew, please remember to stay on. And yeah, so here are our board of directors, Ed Malilin and Rex.
Are you on, Ed?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
My mic was weird.
Same here. Same here.
So thanks to everyone who came out today to watch this show, and we should give everybody a big round of applause, especially our folks from this movie and Ia for being a great hostess for today. So we should give them a big round of applause, and thanks to Rodney and Ronnie in the
And we should
behind the
give everybody
scenes.
a big round of applause, especially our folks from this movie and Ia for being a great hostess for today. So we should give them a big round of applause. And thanks to Rodney and Ronnie.
Rex, how's your audio? Mine is like saying mine back to me. It's kind of weird.
Are you getting that Kung Fu dub?
I'm getting that 30-second delay there. It's kind of weird. I'm hearing myself. It's kind of, I'm not that interesting. So sorry to everybody, but I'm glad we could entertain.
Hey, congratulations to everyone on the project. I had a few questions on the Q&A, but I heard that we skipped that little part of the portion of the live stream. I had a couple of questions, but I can always, hopefully contact each one of you. I had questions mostly on the musical side of things because coming in from the music supervisor and the music publisher point of view, I had a couple of, just curious on how the process worked with and with the talent, basically. So, but anyway, Ed and I are here. We are the board of directors for FilAm Creative, and we're here just to give a quick plug. We are starting up a new Zoom type of show called Rise and Shine. So for those of you who don't party on a Friday night, you could join us on a Saturday morning. Yes, a show on Saturday morning. I know it's going to be hard for some, maybe, who doesn't get up maybe until the crack of noon on a Saturday portion of the weekend and everything. But FilAm Creative is doing a morning show called Rise and Shine. It's an 8-episode type of show from 10 a.m. to about 11:30 a.m. in the morning. And we are starting this up on October 17th. A couple Saturdays from today, I believe. And Ed and I are the current hosts of the show. And Ed, if you want to, chime in on what we have coming up on this season 1.
Absolutely. And I hope that I don't hear myself again 30 seconds later. But yes, starting in 13 days, Rex and I will be co-hosting Rise and Shine. And we'll also be with 3 other members of FilAm Creative. That's going to be Ronnie and Veronica and Kami, and you'll get to meet them in 13 days. And it's kind of a lifestyle show where we get to spotlight our great FilAm creatives in the community, not just in Los Angeles, but anywhere, just like Ia has done such a great job doing today. And maybe you guys, I'll invite you, maybe any of you would be welcome to come on our show at any point. You can contact us about that, hint. But yes, we're going to go for an 8-week run through December. And it's a chance for the members and the supporters of FilAm Creative to meet our friends, to meet the people who support FilAm Creative, and to meet the people who make a difference in the entertainment community. So we're excited about that, right, Rex?
You got it, man. So, hey, we'd love to invite you guys to come and watch. And if you want to be a part of the show, Mallory, invitation out to you and to your crew and to the talent. We'd love to get this project out to a bigger number of people so that they're aware of it. There are very, 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 very few musicals, especially produced by Filipino Americans. And this needs to be out there. This needs to be talked about. This needs to be in the awareness of the entertainment community out there right now. I know how hard it is, even just to be an independent these days, but it is the time to be independent right now. So congratulations to all of you for being a part of this project. Congratulations, and hope to see you guys October 17th. Just look out on the social media for the upcoming promos and announcements and stuff like that. So I wanted to, at this point, thank you guys for joining us on the live stream, and I'll throw it back to you, Ia.
Thank you.
Ooh, I've always wanted to do that. Like, thanks, Rex. That was my anchor moment. Hello, thanks, Rex, for passing it back. But, you know, this has been such a blast. Thank you so much, the cast and crew of Girl Who Left Home. You guys have been so fantastic. I felt like I was family in the short time that I was with you guys. But yeah, before we wrap up this stream, Mallory, did you want to plug in where we can watch like the future streams, or how we can get up to date for your movie?
Thanks, Ia. I'll take it from here. Oh yes, we will be screening at CamFest Forward this October 14th through 18th. Please check out their website for ticket information. You can also follow us at Girl Who Left Home on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll tell you exactly how to see our movie with no problem.
Yay! Thank you so much, Mallory, and to the people who are watching, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, FilAm Creative is a nonprofit organization, and you know, in order for us to keep continuing creating these types of events, if you guys would like to donate to FilAm Creative, our Venmo is at FilAm Creative. Again, that's at FilAm Creative. I'm kidding. But no, seriously though, yeah, we're a nonprofit and we love what we do. We, you know, this cannot be possible without every single hot mic, without every single one of you guys. But yes, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, make sure to follow FilAm Creative at FilAm Creative, Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Make sure you keep up to date to us on what's coming next. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Sunday, y'all. Bye.